What is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you from just outside Hartford, Connecticut. Today, we're going to do our official 2020 MLB Postseason predictions. Now, as you can see, we have the official bracket of the 2020 MLB Postseason. It is set. We know the teams, we know the seeds, we know who they're playing. So it's going to be exciting. Unlike the past two times, we're going to be actually doing more research on the matchups. And I have more stats to back up myself with what I say. So, of course, this time, we're going to start off with the NL just because the past two times we started off with the AL. It's just going to be me today. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Of course, first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to list off the matchups here for the NL first. We have the 1 seed LA Dodgers taking on the 8 seed Milwaukee Brewers. Then we have the 4 seed San Diego Padres taking on the 5 seed St. Louis Cardinals. The 2 seed Atlanta Braves will play host to the 7 seed Cincinnati Reds. And the 3 seed Chicago Cubs will play host to the 6th seed Miami Marlins. So we'll start off with the first matchup here, and that is LA versus Milwaukee. And LA has been the team basically since the start of the season. We all knew the Dodgers had a great team. And what did they do? Well, this is a team that has made the World Series in 2 of the past 3 years, and both times they lost the World Series, but it was very controversially. As we know, 2017 they lost to the Astros, and the Astros got caught cheating. 2018 they lost to the Red Sox, and guess who got caught cheating? The 2018 Red Sox. Now in 2019 they fell to the Nationals in the NLDS. A little bit embarrassing, but then the Nationals went on to win the World Series. So they've lost to the World Series winner in the past 3 seasons. So it's not like they're getting knocked out by nobodies. And what did this team do? They went out and acquired, Mookie Betts. What did it cost them? A couple good prospects. But the Dodgers are in position to win today. They don't care about 2 years from now. They want to win today. And that's what Mookie Betts helps them do. Now, they're going to be facing the Milwaukee Brewers. And the Brewers were always a team that were just around 500, just below 500. And they started off weaker with the abysmal start to the season that Christian Yelich gave them. And they eventually started doing a little better. But heading into this matchup, the Dodgers are 8-2 in their past 10 games, while the Brewers are 5-5. So, obviously, in baseball, records matter, but who's hot matters more. We've seen it before. We've seen that best team lose in the first round because they're not hot. Does that bode well for the Brewers? No, because they're not hot. The Dodgers are hot. The Dodgers are playing at home. And Milwaukee's strength is going to be the back end of their bullpen. But the back end of your bullpen means absolutely nothing if your starting pitching is not there. And I think the trade of Zach Davies to San Diego is really going to bite them here. Dodgers are going to be able to pounce early, score runs early on, take this series. It should very well be a sweep. So if the Dodgers don't sweep them, it's actually quite embarrassing for the Dodgers, but they should have this series. Next, we get to the one of two games this round that I really had trouble with this series. It's the San Diego Padres taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, if you would have asked me about 2 weeks ago who I had winning the series, I would say San Diego in a sweep. I wouldn't even think twice about it. But San Diego has really cooled off since the start of the season. And in the past 10 games, they played 500 baseball, going 5-5. St. Louis, on the other hand, has gone 6-4 in their past 10 games. So they're doing a little better. And the problem with San Diego is a lot of their young kids started off red hot, and they've cooled off since. Obviously, through the first month of the season, Fernando Tatis Jr. was looking like the MVP from the NL. And Jake Cronenworth there was looking, their infielder. I guess he plays first, it's second, and he was DHing a bit, plays third. So he was looking like the NL Rookie of the Year. Now, in the month of September, they both cooled off. So they're not the front runners anymore. Maybe Cronenworth will win, but Tatis has a shot, I suppose. But they both cooled off, and this is a team that needs their young kids to produce. We saw at the trade deadline, they went all in. They acquired a lot of talented players, and they completely redid their catching core. They completely changed a lot. And San Diego, these new moves, will they help them get past St. Louis? St. Louis has a veteran presence. Obviously, Yadier Molina has been here before. He's seen it, he's done it. Matt Carpenter has been here before. He's seen it, he's done it. Wainwright has been here before. He's seen it, he's done it. Even Paul Goldschmidt got valuable experience last MLB postseason when the team made it to the NLCS. So St. Louis has the experience that San Diego does not have. However, San Diego, this was, like I said, this was a very tough series for me. I give San Diego the edge in 3 games. Why? Because I think San Diego's pitching is just a little bit better than the Cardinals' pitching. And I think that as much as I really like the Cardinals' veteran presence, I see them as a big-time sleeper here to win this series. I have to give it to San Diego. They have the home field advantage for this whole series, obviously. That's how the MLB postseason is going to be this year. So I give the edge to San Diego, but I won't be shocked if the Cardinals pull off the upset. Then we have the 2-seed Atlanta Braves taking on the 7-seed Cincinnati Reds. And this, again, is a tale of 2 teams. So Atlanta really has overcome a lot. Atlanta dealt with a lot of injuries. When I said the Phillies had injuries, I didn't even think about Atlanta. Atlanta, obviously, start the season. Nick Markakis is opted out. He ends up coming back in late August, early September. I think it was late August he comes back. And he helps the team. But part of why he came back was because at that point in time, Acuna was hurt. He goes on the injured list. Acuna comes back. He gets hurt again, re-aggravates his injury. Doesn't go on the injured list this time, but he misses a key weekend series. He comes back, and then yesterday, Sunday's game, he also ends up being scratched due to the injury. Granted, they already had their 2-seed in the NL wrapped up, so they could just be playing safe. But speaking of injuries as well, obviously, lesser-known injury, Austin Riley. He missed the weekend series. He's less likely to be ready for opening day in this series, but he should still be ready. Of course, we know Mike Soroka, done for the year with an Achilles injury. Cole Hamels really wasn't good for them. He played 1 game before re-aggravating his injury. So Cole Hamels will not play for them in the postseason. So their pitching's a big question mark if you're Atlanta. But the team did well in a weak NL East, NL Least if you prefer. Notice the L in front of least. But Cincinnati was a team that everybody pegged as a World Series sleeper, dark horse. And I've said this before at the start of the season. And everyone was talking about how great their hitting was. But what got them to this point is their pitching. So right now, the NL Cy Young favorite is Trevor Bauer. And I wouldn't be shocked to see Sonny Gray win it either. Both of those pitchers are on the Reds. So Cincinnati's in a good position, and their hitting has slowly gotten better. So coming into this series, the Braves are doing decent. They're 6-4 in their last 10. The Reds are 7-3 in their last 10 games. So the Reds are a little hotter. But these games, I think that heatness is kind of neglected by the fact that these games are played in Atlanta. So it's going to be a very close series. But as we know, pitching wins championships. And if I'm an Atlanta fan, I am not looking forward to this pitching rotation that we have with Max Fried, Ian Anderson, and Kyle Wright going out. Who do you put out opening day? Or for the first game, I should say. Ian Anderson? The guy doesn't have a proven track record. Fried? He's just coming off an injury. Wright? Didn't you demote him to your alternative training site because he was struggling immensely? If I'm Atlanta, even if you get past Cincinnati, you're in a bad position because of your pitching rotation. And Cincinnati is young enough. They have the power hitters. So they need their offense to produce to win this series. Can they do it against a team that doesn't allow a lot of homers? Yes. I think Cincinnati will pull the upset over the Braves. I think the Braves' injury concerns and the lack of pitching just going to be too much. They're going to struggle. They're probably going to make this go to 3. And I think the third game is going to be the key one when they have to throw right out and right just gets beaten up. Now we have the Cubbies playing the Marlins in the battle that not a lot of people predicted. Obviously, the Marlins, everyone was kind of like, oh, Marlins are irrelevant. And the Cubs, basically, there were rumors going around the whole offseason they were going to trade Chris Bryant and a lot of other players and go into a full-on rebuild. Obviously, that didn't happen. So here we are, and it's going to be a close battle between these two teams. So Chicago basically was running away with the NL Central the whole season. They were the only team to, maintain an above 500 record. And this is despite the fact that Chris Bryant's been dealing with injury after injury after injury. And the team's been doing good. I mean, Yu Darvish has looked very good for the team. So the Cubs are looking good heading in the playoffs. With a 4-6 record, though, in their past 10 games, they have cooled off a bit. But they've also had their seed kind of locked up for a while. On the flip side, the Marlins, who have been 5-5 in their last 10 games, are in an interesting position. So the Marlins, they have a lot of veteran hitters on their team. They have a lot of no-names on their team. And it was just enough of a good mix that the team made the playoffs. And the team, it was definitely an interesting playoff run for them, to make the playoffs, run to make the playoffs. And we all know about the coronavirus thing at the beginning of the season for them. So they had a franchise most player, I forget the exact number, some absurd number, like 63 or 73 players played for the Marlins this season. That's their franchise record for most players in a single season. And it happened in a 60-game season, just to throw numbers out. So the Marlins are in an interesting position. They're young, they're talented. The problem is they're young. So that pitching staff is not going to do good against a veteran, seasoned Chicago Cubs offense. And while the Cubs are not the same as they were, home field advantage is key. They know Wrigley. They love Wrigley. They've been here forever. Chicago will win against the Marlins, and it probably will go to 7, or 3, but we'll see. I'm going to finish up the NL here. So we have the 1 seed LA Dodgers taking on the 4 seed San Diego Padres. And this was a season series that we saw. So for the first time, I can pull up my trusted stat here. And head-to-head matchups this year, LA went 6-4 against San Diego. So there's that. And remember, at this point on, all games are in neutral fields. So this is going to be an interesting series, but LA's offense completely overpowers San Diego's offense. We know this. San Diego's offense has been slumping of late. LA's has not. So the Dodgers are ready. The Padres might not be. The Padres do have some good players, but it's not going to be enough to stop Mookie Betts, Cody Bellinger, Justin Turner, and all these players that were completely screwed over in 2017 and 2018 in the World Series by cheating. I think that the Dodgers have too much pride. I think they're ready. I think they want this. They're not going to let the Padres stop them. Padres had a good run this year. Get ready for next year if you're a San Diego Padres fan. Your team is ready, and hopefully, Tatis produces better, because remember, this is only his second season, and he missed a month early in 2019, and then he missed the final month and a half of 2019. So fatigue could very well be getting to him. Next, we have the Reds taking on the Cubs in another divisional series. And this one was a tough one for me to decide, but it's a really tough matchup. And Chicago went 6-4 against Cincinnati. So again, a close one. But what I think will lead the Cubs over the Reds is pretty simple. The pitching. The Cubs have a proven pitching team, or pitching staff, I should say. And the Cubs have the talent. Now, if the Cubs hitters get cold, the Reds will win. And it's very possible. But the Cubs are also pretty good at not chasing outside the zone, hold Chris Bryant. And if they can do that, you can mess with Trevor Bauer. So if you can draw walks, you're going to mess with Bauer. And if you get in Bauer's head, Gray's a pretty similar player. So if you can get in Bauer and Gray's head by drawing walks, you're going to win this series. I think the Cubs have the talent to do it. I think this is their last real year of contention. I think the Cubs got this. Cincinnati, couple years, 1 or 2 years away from true contention. They're going to be a team to watch, but right now it's Chicago's series. Now the NLCS, I have the Dodgers taking on the Cubs, and this will be another good one, but one player is going to lead one of these two teams to the World Series. And that's going to be Clayton Kershaw for the LA Dodgers. So I think Kershaw is going to look at it. He's going to say, listen, all these guys in Chicago have rings. Or, the key guys do at least. I don't. And Mookie Betts is going to come in. He's going to say, hey, Clayton, you know how great it is to have a World Series ring? And Kershaw is just going to have this vengeance. I think this is going to be the year he finally breaks his postseason struggles, which is an ERA of something along the lines of 4.4, which isn't horrible, but by Kershaw standards it is. I think Kershaw gets his act together. I think they bowl over the Cubs. I think the Cubs are going to be good enough to take a game, but I think this is the Dodgers' year for the NL. The Dodgers are just amazing. They're set up. They're ready. I think Cody Bellinger, if he can turn it on and hit around 250, hit a few homers, if Gavin Lux can turn it on, I think the Dodgers are just going to be too much for the Cubs, despite the Cubs' good pitching. So now we know I have the Dodgers winning the NL. How about the AL? So, of course, again, going by matchups, we have the 1 seed Tampa Bay Rays taking on the 8 seed Toronto Blue Jays, the 4 seed Cleveland team taking on the 5 seed New York Yankees, the 2 seed Oakland Athletics taking on the 7 seed Chicago White Sox. Oh, have the mighty have fallen. And the 3 seed Minnesota Twins taking on the 6 seed Houston Astros, who, as I mentioned with the Brewers, are one of 2 teams in MLB postseason history to make the postseason with a record south of 500. Again, just like the Brewers, 29-31. So we'll start off with the 1v8, and that's Tampa Bay taking on Toronto. So Tampa Bay has just been such a good team. Tampa Bay was underrated at the start of the season. By underrated, I mean everyone thought the Yankees were going to finally turn it on this year and stay healthy. So Tampa Bay was viewed as the number 2 team in the AL East. Perhaps we slept on them. So Tampa Bay, basically, they started off the season hot, and they've just continued. They go 40-20 through the season, and they're ready. They want to win, and their team's ready. They've been hot going into the playoffs here. They're 8-2 in their past 10. Compare that to 6-4 of Toronto in their last 10. So Tampa Bay did get some vengeance this season already by officially knocking out the Phillies from playoff contention, by sweeping them in the final series of the season. And I think that's going to give them some confidence. As much as you don't think it does, because they remember, hey, listen, we lost to this team in 2008. So we got your vengeance. Congratulations, Tampa Bay. Again, great team. Pitching's there, hitting's catching up, hitting's there now. So Tampa Bay is rolling going in. Toronto's been good. Obviously, getting Bo Bichette back a couple weeks ago really helps this team. But the problem is, as good as these youngsters have been, they've been streaky. And they haven't been producing as well as you'd hope. Now, the pitching's there now. They do have some good pitching options. But remember, Schumacher got hurt. I don't remember if it was Sunday or Saturday or Sunday night with a comebacker. And fortunately, he appears to be okay. But the fact is, comebackers mess with pitchers' confidence. And even if he's out there, he might not be the same. So Tampa Bay is more talented. They have the ability. Tampa Bay, again, has also been hotter. Tampa Bay should be able to take out Toronto. Congratulations to the Blue Jays. The future is bright. But the big problem for Toronto is they're in the AL East. And the AL East is a amazing division that terrifies me if I'm not a fan of the AL East. Next, we have Cleveland taking on the Yankees, and this is another close series. So this is going to be a tale of 2 teams heading into the playoffs. Now, obviously, this is a matchup that we've seen in the playoffs before, and both of these teams have been good for the past half decade. Obviously, Cleveland's made the World Series more recently in 2016, but they haven't won the World Series since the 1940s or 50s. 50s, I believe it was. So New York, on the flip side, they just finished their first decade in the history of Major League Baseball where they did not win the World Series. That would be the 2010s. And that just speaks volumes on how dominant the Yankees have been in their history. So the Yankees have a vengeance here. But the problem is they've dealt with so many injuries. Obviously, Judge missed a chunk of time. Stanton missed a chunk of time. LeMahieu missed a chunk of time. Even, anyone. Tanaka missed a chunk of time. At least Garrett Cole was healthy, but he didn't look that good to start off the season. But again, a lot of teams struggled with that at the start of the season. And it's just, the Yankees are good, but they've been 4-6 in their past 10 games. On the flip side, Cleveland has been 8-2 in their last 10 games. And Cleveland got here by playing great baseball. Now, they actually had this random stretch about a week, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, where they lost 8 games in a row. If you get rid of that stretch, they've been a heavyweight through the whole season. And Cleveland has the experience in the playoffs. Now, trading Clevenger was interesting. And they probably wish they had kept Mike Clevenger. But they can still deal without him. Now, the Cleveland pitching staff isn't the strength that it was. Shane Bieber, obviously AL Cy Young winner. He's going to be the AL Cy Young winner. He won the AL pitching Triple Crown, the first Triple Crown winner in a while. I think it's since Verlander won it about a decade ago for Detroit. So Cleveland's ready to play. Cleveland, their offense is what's going to help them in this series. And Garrett Cole, as good as he is, doesn't match up too well against Shane Bieber, for what we've seen. Now, Bieber, he didn't have a great start, his last start, but he has a Cy Young trophy at this point, as far as I'm concerned. And the Yankees, I don't think they have it. They're not hot. Cleveland's hot. Cleveland should, keyword should, be able to take this series, especially given the fact that they have the home field advantage. Cleveland should take this series. Now we have Oakland versus Chicago. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. I'm going to start with Chicago. I picked Chicago as a World Series winner, or a World Series runner-up 2 weeks ago. And last week, I had them going far. Chicago fell to the 7th seed in the AL. How did this happen? Well, the team went an abysmal 2-8 in their past 10 games, compared to Oakland, who went 5-5. Now, Chicago, a young, volatile team. I said this before, too. It's what happens. These young, talented teams, they slump. The same thing's going to happen with same things happen with Toronto. They slump, and when you slump bad. That's where Chicago is. Oakland, on the flip side, has home field advantage, and they've been ready for this. They know that this is their year. They have to produce this year. And a lot of their young players are good, but of course the loss of Chapman's really going to hurt them. Can they get past Chicago? Yes. As good as Chicago's been, they've been cold going into the playoffs. You can't win games, especially on the road, if you're ice cold. And then the last series here is going to be the 3-seed Minnesota Twins taking on the 6-seed Houston Astros. And Houston, again, we all know the cheating scandal. We all know the struggles that we've been seeing specifically with Jose Abreu. Oh my gosh, Jose Altuve. And Altuve's just not looked good this season. Springer's looked good, but he's been hurt. And Bregman hasn't looked that good. So the Astros offense isn't there, and it's more easy to take advantage of them. Now, Minnesota last year didn't have the pitching to do that. This year, they do. So Minnesota is going to basically have support of the vast majority of MLB teams right now and fans, because everyone's thinking, okay, Minnesota, we want you to take out the cheaters. And Minnesota's offense is there. They have the veterans. They have the talent. They have the power hitters. They're ready. Minnesota should have minimal problems winning this series, especially because they're the home team in this series. Minnesota should take this one in 3 games. Then we have the Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Cleveland team, and this was another close matchup for me. So I was really torn on this one, and it took a lot of time to figure this one out. And I'm going to go with the hot team. I'm going to go with Cleveland, the hotter team. And it's because the offense of Cleveland is there right now. don't get me wrong, the Rays are definitely a good team. But the Rays are going to play damage control more often. They have the better pitching. And as good as it is to have the better pitching staff, you need it. But the thing is with Cleveland's got the hitting right now. Cleveland's hitters are red hot. And red hot hitters can typically mess with a red hot pitcher more than the other way around. So I think Cleveland is going to have it in them to upset the Rays. Now, again, is it truly an upset? Maybe. If you take out that 1 week stretch that the Cleveland had, they would be the 1 seed. So it's going to be a good battle either way. It's going to go to the maximum amount of games, 5. And I think Beaver is going to be too much for them. Then we have Oakland versus Minnesota. And this was another one I was really tough to choose. And I went with Minnesota. Now, you might be thinking, why Minnesota? Pretty simple. Minnesota has the veteran hitters, and the fact that Chapman's out for the season, out for the postseason for Oakland, that does hurt them a lot. Losing Chapman is really big. If Chapman was on this team, I think Oakland would win this series, but he's not. So this is going to be a series that goes in favor of Minnesota. Probably 3-1 if I had to guess. It's going to be a good series as well. Not as good as the Tampa Bay Cleveland one, but it's going to be a good one. So that leads us to the ALCS, Cleveland versus Minnesota, a pair of AL Central teams meeting in the ALCS. Beautiful. So, as you know, Cleveland has been good. Minnesota has been good. They finished a game apart in the standings, and part of why Minnesota finished above Cleveland is because they went 7-3 against them. 7-3 matters. 7-3 is a big thing. It's much more than 6-4. You might not think it, but it is. One of those is a sweep against Cleveland. That is crucial. You sweep them, you know how to play them. And as much as I love Shane Bieber, I don't think he's going to be enough to keep Cleveland in this series against Minnesota. Minnesota wins the AL in probably 6 games against their rival Cleveland. And it's going to be a good series. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you watch this series. So that leads us to the World Series. Minnesota Twins taking on the LA Dodgers. And Minnesota wasn't expected to make the World Series. LA was. Who do I have winning this series? Well, before I say that, let me just say, congratulations to Minnesota. You guys have had a good series. You've really, all these signings that you've made can help you. And if you win, you got the small market support. Small market team taking on a big market team. And obviously, you want to win. You have Nelson Cruz. A lot of people want to see Cruz get a ring. You have Josh Donaldson. Same thing. People want to see Donaldson get a ring. You have a lot of guys. You have a lot of power hitters. But the problem with Minnesota is they've also been dealing with some injuries. That's expected with an older team. It's going to be good for them to get there. Congratulations to the LA Dodgers. So LA has been the number 1 team through most of the season. This was a great team that got even greater when they acquired Mookie Betts, a former AL MVP. So LA is ready. They have Kershaw, and like I said, they'll have the large market support to an extent. But more importantly, you have a lot of people like myself who want to see Clayton Kershaw get a ring before he inevitably declines and retires. And this is probably his most likely year to get a ring. So it's going to be a good matchup. I can't wait to see Kershaw go up against a lot of these guys in Minnesota. Specifically, Cruz, Donaldson. It's going to be great to watch it. And it's going to be a close series, but one team is going to pull it out, and it's going to be the Los Angeles Dodgers. So, why do I have the Dodgers over the Twins? Simple. Large market teams with salary, typically can beat the small market teams. And yes, the Dodgers have choked, but they choked against teams that cheated. Now the cheating scandal's out. They've been elite. They've been ready. They've been 100% ready to go. So the Dodgers while they had pretty much a no-brainer matchup against Milwaukee, they should, they got to cruise. They got to take out the Cubs. They got to take out the Padres. Minnesota has a tough road here. They get to take out the hated Houston Astros. And honestly, if they do that, the Dodgers will probably send them a gift basket. But this is going to be one heck of a series everyone's excited to see. The Dodgers are just a bit better. The Dodgers have the pitching. The Dodgers have the hitting. And all you need is a red-hot Mookie Betts, a red-hot Cody Bellinger, and this series is a sweep. But I think you're going to see the Dodgers win this in 6. So this will be something. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. These are my official postseason predictions. Have a great rest of your day.